Welcome to the Better Off Bonus Call of the Week, sponsored by Betterment, the smarter way to invest your money. Okay, if you want to join us live, you've got 2 chances every week to get on the air. It's this quickie version that we do on Tuesdays, and then we do the longer version on our Thursday program. Just send us an email. Ask Jill at betteroffpodcast.com or send us a tweet at JillOnMoney, #BetterOff. Today we're talking to Brian, who is on the line from Los Angeles. Hello, Brian. Welcome to Better Off. What can I do for you?
Thanks for letting me on.
Sure.
My wife and I have been living abroad, and now we've returned to the U.S., and we've built up a nest egg, and so we're not exactly sure what we should do with it. Maybe I could just give you a little bit of an outline.
Absolutely.
So what we want to do is we want to use part of that money towards a down payment for a house, and then the rest we want to put towards retirement. And so I guess I have 2 questions. The first is, how much should we have set away for retirement at this point, in our lives? We're both in our late 30s. And then the second question is, because we haven't had access to like a 401k, we haven't been able to put it into these tax-advantaged accounts. Mm-hmm. And so what's the best way to do that, or the most efficient way to do that?
Okay, 2 questions for you. First of all, you're in your late 30s. Any kids yet?
No.
Okay. How much money is the total nest egg that you have been able to save?
So let's see here. We have like $100,000 in a savings account for rainy days. We have another $100,000 in Roth IRAs that are with Betterment, mm-hmm. and then $400 that are in another Betterment but a taxable account. Okay.
You're moving to LA. You're looking at homes. How much do you think you'd have to pay for a house that you'd really want to live in for a while?
The truth is that I just have very little idea about the housing market, but mm-hmm. I have no idea. Maybe $500,000?
Okay. I mean, look, here's the thing. If you could find something for $500,000, I would kind of love that. And the reason is that, you've done a terrific job of savings, right? You've got $600,000. But I don't know what your expenses are. Is that $100,000 that you have, is that your emergency reserve fund, or is that really more than, say, 6 or 12 months, do you think?
I would say that it's about 6 to 12 months.
Okay, so let's try not to touch that for a second, and let's look at the Roth, which stands alone, and then you've got this $400,000 that's extra. So you've got $500,000 saved already. So in my mind, if you could find a $500,000 house, if that's possible, again, you're going to have to look, and you could take $100,000 of your taxable account, make that your down payment, and then get a mortgage for the remaining amount for a $400,000 mortgage in LA, I think that would be great. What's about your combined income, or what do you expect your combined income to be?
Let's say $100,000 and $130,000.
This is what I would suspect. If I were you, first things first. I would be thinking that, the thing that would be helpful is to go to a mortgage broker. Then you go backwards from there and say, what is the mortgage we could qualify for? The less you spend on a house, the more you have in your retirement savings. And then what I would presume is that if you're saving this much money at this point in your life, you are not spendthrifts. You're not going crazy. But look, it costs a lot to live in California. It's a high tax state. And I think that you don't want to put too much of that money that you work so hard to save into a house, because you are going to need it to work for you. Now, tell me a little bit about what the nature of your work lives are going to be as you kind of come into this next phase of your life. Are you both going to be salaried employees? Will you be working for state organizations? What do you think is the future for you guys?
Well, I think the most likely thing is that we'll both be salaried employees, probably working in a university or a college, public or private.
Okay. So, chances are you'll have a retirement plan available to you. You will start using mm-hmm. those retirement plans that are available to you. And then you will kind of proceed in your sort of retirement savings in a more traditional way. But again, I think that what can be very tempting is that you've done such a good job of saving. What can be tempting is you take all that money and you say, oh my God, we don't really want a $500,000 house. We want a $900,000 house. And you start burning up all that savings. I would be very careful not to do that. In fact, you may be able to qualify for a larger mortgage than even, say a $400,000 mortgage. Don't do it. You should be really trying to keep focused on this idea that you've got the money that's available to you. In fact, you should go to the Betterment. If you go to the Betterment website, they've got a neat little calculator there, the Retire Guide calculator. Since you're a client, it's very easy. And you can walk through that and start looking at that and look at what you think your retirement needs are going to be and make sure that you can put enough away into your retirement so that you can hit those goals without being house poor. In other words, what I don't want you to do is 10 years from now say, oh, darn it, I put $250,000 down on a house because I wanted a low payment, and then I don't have enough money to actually retire, or I don't have enough money working for me. And that's the danger that I could see you falling into after doing such a beautiful job of accumulating this money.
Can I ask you a follow-up question?
Sure.
So let's say we take $100,000 and we put it down in a house, and then that leaves us with $300,000 that's in a taxable account. What's the best way to move it into a protected account? Would it make sense, like if we have 401ks, to just kind of put everything in there and make up the income gap from the taxable account?
You could, and you could also obviously keep making your Roth contributions, and maybe that is, it depends again where you end up, but yeah, you could start to say, hey, you know what, I can take portion of my taxable income, live on that, right, and make sure that it's not invested too aggressively, right, because if you're going to live on it, and then you can use your retirement accounts to reduce your taxable income, right, and also make sure that you get that money working for you in a tax-deferred way. So I wouldn't go too crazy with that because I think it is nice to have a taxable account that, money's already been taxed. It's pretty great. But I think that you could do that certainly to kickstart their retirement savings for sure.
Okay, great. Well, thank you.
All right. Don't buy too big a house, okay?
We'll try not to. We'll keep it simple.
All right. Good luck. Thanks for calling, Brian.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Okay, that's a wrap of our Better Off bonus question of the week. If you've got a question, it's simple. Send us an email at askjill@betteroffpodcast.com. We'll arrange to get you on. And don't forget, in just a couple of days, there's a brand new episode of the Better Off Podcast sponsored by Betterment. Talk to you then.